Thank you, Representative Harmon. Our next speaker is Josh Cuck. He's been a veteran activist for the GOP, Ron Paul, as well as the Libertarian Party, and he currently serves as the Vice Chair of the Libertarian Party of Kentucky. Please join me in welcoming Josh Cuck.
Well, I want to thank everybody that turned out here today. It's great to see everyone, whether we wear the shirts and colors of the Republican Party, Libertarian Party, Independence, Constitution Party, or whatever alignment we find ourselves with. We're all united in one cause. We want freedom. Well, I'm going to differentiate myself from the politicians running here, and I'm going to make some empty promises. My first empty promise: if you vote for one party or another, you're going to make real change. No, you're not. We tried that. I tried that. For years, I worked as a Republican volunteer. For almost a decade and a half, I worked as a Republican volunteer. I thought that if I stuck with one party, I would get all the answers I needed. We would get rid of the deficit. We'd get rid of irresponsible spending. We'd get rid of the welfare state, and our gun rights would be restored. I was really disappointed. I want to tell you a story about a great man, a man that I respect a lot. We tried to take on the establishment within a party. Ron Paul had the courage. Ron Paul stood there, and he looked the establishment square in the eye, and they locked his supporters out of everything. They locked his supporters out of meetings, out of conferences, out of county-level events. They locked his supporters out of everything. I want to tell you about another great man who tried to do it, Pat Toomey. I was a volunteer for Pat Toomey up in Pennsylvania back in the 90s, all the way up through 2004. In 2004, President Bush came in, and in a record primary of over 1 million votes, Pat Toomey, the real reform candidate, lost to Arlen Specter, who's now a Democrat, by 15,000 votes. This is what happens when we play the establishment game. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a quote. I have a dream. I have a dream for Kentucky. And my dream for Kentucky is we don't vote on a man or a woman based on their party label. We don't vote on them whether we walk their dog or go to the same church as them. We don't vote for them whether they tell us we're going to get a contract or a social program, or we're going to get federal money, or they're going to bring home the bacon. We actually sit there and analyze this person. And we say, if I vote for this person, am I going to be able to look my kids dead in the eye and go, I did what I had to do to make sure your country survived? I protected your Constitution with this vote. Now, this is going to be hard for some of us. It's difficult. It's very difficult to walk away from the establishment. I'm not going to lie. I loved it when I was with the establishment. I loved the money we had. I loved the access to media we had. I loved the ability to reach out and touch people and have a whole lot of folks line up in lockstep to do what they were supposed to do to help the candidates. It's very easy to stay with the establishment. But the fact of the matter is, the fruits of doing all this stuff and lining up with the establishment of either party, any party, my party, the Libertarian Party, the Republican Party, the fruits of going along with what everyone else is doing is why we have a $14 trillion deficit today.
Yeah, that's right.
It's important to remember that this did not happen by accident. None of this is accidental. There are people who think that they have a better idea about controlling you than you do. Now, some folks in the Republican Party want to control your social life. They want to say who you can marry. They want to threaten you. They want to control your body and tell you you can't ingest certain substances. There are folks in the Democratic Party who want to control every aspect of your financial life. They don't think you should be able to earn money. They don't think you should be able to support your family. So what's the answer to all this? Where does the rubber meet the road on this one? The free market. We in America like to think that we have a free marketplace of ideas. We pride ourselves on the ability to speak freely, to publish freely, to say whatever we want to say within reason, as long as it doesn't endanger other people. So why do we accept a ballot box that is not a free marketplace of ideas? That's what free and equal is all about. That's what I'm fighting to do in the Libertarian Party. Currently, in many states in the Union, my candidates, the candidates of my party, the independent candidates, and the candidates of other third parties like the Constitution Party and the Greens are being driven off. They're being threatened with lawsuits. They're being threatened personally. Are we serious about change? Ask yourself that. Are you so serious about change that you're willing to listen to every different viewpoint? Do you think you have the confidence in yourself that you can listen to every viewpoint and make the right decision? And don't allow yourself the cop-out of saying this is going to split the vote. Go back to that question. When you cast that vote, is that the best you can do for your kids? Because someday you may have to answer that question. Now, if you believe in the free marketplace, we're in agreement. Congratulations and welcome aboard. I look forward to working with you. But keep in mind that the marketplace of ideas is not just the freedom of the press. It's not the freedom of the speech. It is the freedom of the ballot box. It is the freedom to vote for the person who represents you, not the freedom to vote for the person who most accurately represents the party establishment which you're letting make all your political decisions. Think for yourself. That's all that I ask of you. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce my friend. He's a crusader against the establishment. He's been sued off the ballot. They tried to do it again very recently. He's trying to represent the people of Louisville, the people of the 3rd District. He's trying to represent Kentucky and Washington. I'd like to introduce to you my friend, Ed Martin, the Libertarian candidate for Congress in the 3rd District of Kentucky. Thank you.
Okay, as Josh said, I think in the 3rd District of Kentucky, I'm the man that the Republicans love to hate. They've taken 3 shots at getting me off the ballot. We were successful once. I beat them twice. So that's a good start. I'm proud of that. A lot of high-minded talk today about rights and everything like that. And I can't say I disagree with any of it. I think it's all good. But I think one thing that as independents, and in my case libertarians, one thing we need to address is we got a lot of problems in this country, not just constitutionally, not just as far as illegal wars going on in other countries, not just economically as far as the federal government goes. We got a lot of people hurting in this country right now. And as independents, we can talk about the Constitution and everything we want, but we have to also come up with solutions. And I'm convinced that's one of the reasons that the major parties sue me off the ballot, or at least they try, because I've said from the onset of my campaign, this was going to be about solutions to problems that affect people's lives. And that's what we have to connect with, whether we're outsiders in the Republican parties, whether they're outsiders in the Democrat Party, or whether they're the consummate outsiders in third parties. And that's why in my campaign it's not focused on fundraising. I am strictly going after problems that help people, because we have to prove ourselves. And along those lines, I could just get right out, since I am a candidate. A couple of the ideas I've come up with is, you hear politicians all the time. They want to talk about small business is the backbone of society, small business of the economy. Small business is the hiring engine of the economy. They do all that. They talk it up real nice, both Republicans and Democrats, and they don't do anything about it. They bail out the big banks, and they get their big bonuses. They bail out anybody that can promise them a lot of votes or a lot of money. And that's what's wrong with the country. It's its professional parties. I came up with the first idea I had. Being a small businessman, I look at a lot of things, and it's all about solving problems and staying viable. I've proposed that both on a federal, state, and local level, that the first $25,000 any business makes is tax exempt. It's the only way we can keep these small businesses. They're up against a wall right now. They can't get financing, yet the way the tax code's set up currently, the backbone of job creation in the country has to go every end of their fiscal year. They have to go to the bank to get a loan to pay their taxes, even if they have minuscule profits. That's not right, so I've proposed that. I've also proposed this, in light of the fact that the Democrats are going to ram Obamacare down our throats, and it's starting to take root now, that in the small business world, we have to buy double insurance on everybody. If we buy health insurance, we have to turn around, we have to buy health insurance again for workman's comp. There's a slight difference in payout. I've advocated and introduced a notion where small businesses, if they pay, whether voluntary or as Obama would have it, involuntarily insurance, that workman's comp would then become supplemental insurance and pick up the remaining 20% of health insurance costs for hurt on the job that nobody else, that the insurance doesn't cover. Saves small business a ton of money. And these are the kind of solutions I'm pushing. I've actually got some longer-term capital gains ideas. We've got ideas that we're going to be putting forth shortly that have everything to do with fuel efficiency. Because we all know cafe is a big joke. Every few years it comes up, and the auto lobbies shovel money at the politicians again, just to have the cafe standards fit their current model lines. So we need to come up with some free market ideas. We need to come up with some ideas that aren't geared towards the special interest every damn time something comes up. So that's what I'm running for. I think that's what they're afraid of. And as we've said before, all the other constitutional rights, Gatewood, Phil, everybody's done a really good job at talking that up, so I'm not going to repeat that because, as the minister said, keep it short and it stays in God's good graces, so I'll do that. So that's what we're pushing. We're pushing those ideas, and that's what I would implore anybody that's running from the outside, anybody that's running as a party outsider or, like I say, a consummate outsider as a third-party candidate, is to come up with solutions that people can connect with, because we can talk all we want, but if we don't come up with ideas that can make people's lives better, take away some of their anxieties, and let them gain control of their lives and encourage them getting control of their lives, then we're lost. We'll sit there, we'll keep talking the high-minded stuff, the country will collapse, and everybody will be wondering why. So as independents, I implore you to contact and get in touch with all other independents and all other free thinkers and exchange ideas. If there's good ideas out there, adopt them. And because parties are great. Parties, they serve a function. Independents are great. They serve a function. But we need to get away, and we need to get into true bipartisanship and away from the partisanship. We need to come up with ideas that address the problems that everyday people are going. Because if we don't get elected, we don't get votes, we don't deliver the message, and there's nothing we can do about it except stand on the outside and scream. So, as I say, vote your conscience. Have the courage to vote your conscience. Go with the candidate whose ideas reflect your beliefs and your desires the most. And that's the only way that you can send that message to the politicians. Win or lose, send them the message.